Today in Class 9, we're entering the third age of globalization, the equestrian age, or the age of the horse. This is an amazing period of transformation of humanity. The invention of the horse, of course, humanity didn't invent the horse, but it invented the domestication and uses of the horse, had a profound effect on every aspect of life for those places where the horse could thrive. The horse brought huge amounts of power to do work, to pull plows, to carry freight over large distances. The horse is fast. It was a means of communication that was unparalleled for overland travel. And of course, the horse was powerful for warfare. The cavalry became the center of the new armies of the new great states that emerged in this period, and that emerged only because of the horse making possible the new imperial city-states that would then become larger and larger state territories, the empires of the ancient world. And we're going to visit some absolutely amazing places to help us understand the equestrian age. Well, you know, the equestrian age began around 5,000 years ago. The horse was domesticated sometime between 3000 BC and 4000 BC. Of course, the precise timing of the domestication and the precise locations are so far lost to prehistory, but there's a very good bet that horse domestication first took place in the great steppeland regions of Eurasia. This is the natural habitat of the wild horses, the vast grasslands that could feed very large horse populations and that brought us the great and strong breeds of horses that would become the horses until today. Now, wild horses in geologic time were endemic to the Americas. In the Americas, there were vast populations of wild horses. But when the Asian populations crossed Beringia, the land bridge on their way to the Americas towards the very end of the Pleistocene era, still when the glaciers were intact and the ocean levels were far lower than today, they hunted the horses right to extinction. And it seems that around 10,000 years ago, horses disappeared from North America, from the Americas in general. The consequences were devastating because the Americas lacked the benefits of a horse population and horse domestication, and would do so until the horse arrived once again, but this time with the European conquerors, the conquistadores, who arrived with Columbus and the other European voyagers and conquerors. So the horse was lost to the Americas, but the horse in large and vast wild populations remained in the steppe regions, and it is in the steppe regions that our third age of globalization takes hold, where the horse is first domesticated and the horse begins to play all of these vital roles of animal traction, of pulling a plow, of pulling a chariot, of racing across the steppelands as the new internet of the age, the fastest overland communications imaginable carried on horseback. It's important for us to remember that the equestrian age was not only the age of domestication of the horse, but of other animal species that could play a similar role to the horse, though never quite the same. In the desert regions, the camels and other camelid species played a role of large distance transport, work, and for military purposes. And of course, the camel in Central Asia and the camel in the drylands and deserts of Arabia and North Africa played a huge role in history. And another crucial animal for animal traction and for long-distance carriage and trade was Equus africanus, equus meaning horse, but African horse, the donkey endemic to the Horn of Africa, to the drylands of Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Somalia today. And the donkey played a huge role throughout history. Also, an animal that could do vast work, not as fast as a horse, not able to have a donkey cavalry the same way, not as versatile, but very robust, very resilient, and with an absolutely key role throughout history. So our third age of globalization, the equestrian age, is an age where the domestication of these beasts of burden, of transport, and of warfare change human history. So what do I hope for you to understand as we explore the sights of the third age of globalization? First, to understand the natural habitats of the horse, the donkey, the camel, and other related species, the llama of the Andean region of South America, the only place where a camelid survived the first hunting and arrival of the new Native Americans thousands of years ago, and where the llama became also a very important domestic animal for support for trade and for animal traction. So to understand the natural habitats of these species, to understand the limitations of other places in terms of climate or disease that prevented horse populations from ever really taking hold, for example, in sub-Saharan Africa, or because of the extinction of the wild horse in North America, driven to extinction by climate change and by hunting around 10,000 years ago, the sheer absence of the horse in the history of the Americas until we reached the period of the arrival of the European conquests. Understand why the horse was so crucial. It was the automobile of the age. It was the internet of the age, in fact, for communications. It was the tank of the age, not the mechanized cavalry of today, but the real cavalry of human history. The versatility of the horse and its role in society is immeasurable. And understand and let us think about the very complex relations of the horse-rearing societies, typically more nomadic societies living in drylands, in the steppelands, and the settled populations, typically to their south across Eurasia, that did not raise horses or had only a few, and that interaction of the pastoralist and horse-rearing populations and the settled populations of the farmers were very complex, often mutually beneficial through trade, but often highly conflictual through warfare as well, as with the arrival of the Huns and the Mongols and the other horseback conquerors from the Eurasian steppelands that repeatedly conquered large swaths of the settled farmland populations of Eurasia. And finally, let's understand how the horse and the technologies and the empowerment of the economy and the military gave rise to at least the precursors of the modern state, because it is in the early places where those cavalries play such an important role when we look at the archaeological sites of Assyria, in Babylonia. We see the centrality of the horse in the sculptures and the bas-reliefs and in the artwork. We know how central the horse was in the rise of those states and in long-distance trade, which began in that era across the steppelands, the highways of Eurasia, in long-distance trade between East and West. Well, let's go visit some of these absolutely amazing places so that we begin to understand more deeply by our sight and our feel the role of the horse. We're going to be right in the center of the steppelands, in the center of Eurasia, when we visit Samarkand in today's Uzbekistan, and we see one of the centers of the horse-based civilizations. We're going to visit the caravan routes of the camels across the Arabian Peninsula in Al-Ula, a wondrous site, a site of ancient habitation, a central place on caravan routes from the Red Sea to the Levant, the Eastern Mediterranean, carried by camelback, and we'll visit some of those ancient sites and understand the significance of the camel in this equestrian age. And we'll see how the horse remained in its glory for nobility, in its symbolism of the leading classes, the princely states and kingdoms of Europe, up until the modern times when we visit one of the greatest places of horsemanship and horse breeding in the world, the Spanish riding school in Vienna, home of the Habsburg Empire. And the Habsburg emperors loved their horses, and the horse continued to play a major role in statecraft, in the economy, and of course in warfare up until modern times, as exemplified by the leading role of the horse in the Spanish riding school in Vienna. So let's go have a look.